Okay, I'm going to assume you guys can see this okay. KIP stands for Your Knowledge is Power, Your Knowledge is Property, and Your Knowledge is Provenance. And this is essentially our Sandbox site, which is where we show off the other projects that KIP has been used to build. So Open Campus is one. We've got an ArtGen site. We've got Kiply, which is a university-focused site, and so on. And then it also shows off several data sets and apps that were made using those data sets. So these are a bunch of apps that let you consult a bot via AI, whether that is via semantic search or via a chatbot or whatever. So I am going to demo this by connecting and uploading a data set and then making a bot just to show you one way that this can potentially be used. So we're using account abstraction for this site, partly to make it easier to use and partly for security reasons. It's in this context, we can it helps to reassure the owners of the apps and the data sets that they're dealing with legit people who are going to pay them, who are within the system and so on. So I am just going to quickly log in using my social sign-in. Right. So you can see I'm in. I've got my account abstraction wallet here, which I can check up on and see my membership status and approve my pop-up. So sign my session keys. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, I can check my account. I can check my credit balance. I have 997 left, so I'm all good. See what data sets I've bought in the past, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to start by uploading a data set. So I can do this via my knowledge assets here. And I have my own book, so I'm gonna create an app of this so that people can consult it. So I spent the 2 years of lockdown in Singapore translating the stratagems of the warring states into English. And now it is complete, it's all online. So I have turned it into a PDF and I want to turn it into an AI bot. So I'm going to add a new data element and go and upload this here. So you can see it's processing here, and that is both the upload and also the vectorization, because it is going to be used in retrieval augmented generation. So that is essentially it's giving the AI access to a data set that it wouldn't otherwise have access to, because this site is actually relatively new. I don't think it was all online when the big models were being trained. So they probably don't have this stored in the parametric memory. Okay, just to do a quick summary, and I will call this an educational data set. Won't bother with the descriptions because we're in a hurry. And obviously you have the option to set it private or public. You can encrypt it or not. Actually, this one, they're all automatically set to encrypted, but yeah, in future, you're going to have the option to turn that off. You can set your price. So I think knowledge should be free, so I'm going to set it to 0. And then you just hit create. And what that will do, again, is it'll kickstart the vectorization process that is necessary for RAG to happen, and B, it will create my tokenization if if Zoom isn't interfering with the pop-up, which I think it may actually be. Yeah, I think Zoom is preventing it from opening this pop-up, which is a bit inconvenient. So I will quickly stop sharing, deal with the pop-up issue, and then share again. Right. Okay. So you should be able to see it. It's added this. It's added to my list of data sets here, and I have it here. So I can use this now to connect to an AI and make an AI app. So you can see we have a variety of app templates here. We've just provided kind of a basic list, which is obviously going to be expanded with time. So we have the basic retrieval augmented generation app here, which is where the AI will answer user questions based on a data set that we uploaded. So in my case, it's my English translation of the stratagems of the warring states here. You have semantic search citation finder. So in that case, that is more like for if you've been doing some research, for example, and you have, say, 200 PDFs saved in your research folder, and you're looking for a specific citation from one of them, semantic search is actually really good for that. So yeah, we have that option. We have the same thing for summarizing documents. So in that case, again, if you have a research database with 200 PDFs in, you can search through it, find the one that is closest to the topic you want, and get the AI to summarize it. We have this analysis reports option app, which essentially lets you upload market data, because it was built for our first not our first investor, but our lead investor in the first round, Animoca. So we originally built this for analyzing the state of companies in their portfolio. And we have another chatbot that is optimized for running with open source models. We have semantic quiz generation, and this one was actually made for a professor at CSUN, so the university in California. And what he really wanted was essentially an app that would help him do pop quizzes for his students in his philosophy classes. He teaches Introduction to Philosophy, and he was having to come up with quiz questions every week. So he asked us to make this app, which I'll demo later if we have time. I'm not sure if we do, but what it essentially does is you upload your course textbook, for example, and what the AI does is it asks you for a topic. You put in the topic that you want it to quiz you on, and it will write a bunch of questions and then spoiler out the answers. So you guess the answer, and then you click to see if you were right. And then these are copies of the other ones. So yeah. So in this case, I am just going to do the basic retrieval augmented generation. So I will continue with this, and this site is actually set up to facilitate people to create chain of thoughts prompts. And what a chain of thought is essentially you're helping the AI along. You're helping the AI to reason through a more complex problem. So if you just ask the AI, what day is Shakespeare's birthday, it is going to say right away it's April 23rd, because that information is in the training data. But if you say, okay, I don't know, write me a set of fluid dynamics equations for this particular situation, and then turn them into a Python code to simulate it, it may well kind of get lost or get confused along the way. But it will perform a lot better if you split the task up into several stages. And that's what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to try and do is get the AI to find me a quote from the book on a given topic, and then write that quote up in JavaScript code so that I can have it as an insert on my website. So you can search for a quote and then you can see it pop up. Right. So I will come up with a good prompt. And the prompt requires certain variables. So I'm using retrieval augmented generation. So I'm going to need at least two variables in this prompt. And that is, first of all, the question, which is the question that the final user is going to ask, which we don't know what it is yet. And then the context, and that is the information that the AI is going to receive or retrieve from the database that it has access to, which is again this book. So let's come up with something. So you can see with this system prompt, what I'm doing is I'm telling the model that it needs to answer the user question in a specific way. So you can do that in any way. I'm doing it specific for this, but you can say, get it to do whatever you want, essentially. So now I have both variables in. And again, you can add in anything you want. So I can even get it to do it in a catgirl voice if I wanted, but I'm going to get it to do it seriously this time. So now I have to choose which model I want to use. So we're just offering kind of a random selection here right now. We've got Llama 3, which is pretty good. That is our own local version. We've got Claude, obviously, which is I'm a big Claude fan. I like the layer of whimsy. We have DeepSeek, which again, it's sort of quite cutting edge. I like it. And DeepSeek Coder, which again is among the highest performing code models right now. So for this one, I think I will use Claude. So the settings, again, if you've ever used the GPT API, you're probably familiar with these settings. If you haven't, then I'll do a quick intro. So you have your output tokens, which is just the length of the answer you want it to give. You have your model temperature, and basically the higher you set this, if you set it at 2, the answer that the model gives will just be totally crazy and incoherent. If you set it at 0, it will just spit out exactly what is in the retrieved data. So I want something that's a kind of a compromise. I don't want it to be totally uncreative, but I don't want it to be crazy sounding either. So I'm going to set it at 65. That'll do. Top P. So top P is kind of similar to temperature, but it's slightly different at the same time. So model temperature controls the craziness of each individual word that the model will spit out. And top P controls the amount of lateral thinking that the model is allowed to do. So, for example, if you set a high temperature and a low top P, and you ask it, what do cats eat? It will just say skibbity, and it will be totally incomprehensible. If you set a low temperature and a high top P and you ask it what cats eat, it will say something like, cats eat sugar and spice and all things nice, which is linguistically coherent, but it's an odd answer. So I actually want it to sort of to be relatively consistent, so I'm going to leave it there. Your frequency penalty and your presence penalty are basically just two different ways to prevent it from repeating itself too often. Your context chunks, that is basically how many snippets of information you want it to retrieve from the data set you've connected it up to. So I usually think that 4 is a good amount, but you're going to want to change this based on the data set you're using, essentially. So I am going to test this out and ask a question about going to ask questions about dogs. Going to take a while to go through, but hopefully it's going to work. Oh, well, this is embarrassing. Did that? Oh, I know what I did. I clicked on the, sorry, I've got multiple apps that use this data sets, that use similar data sets, and I clicked on the wrong one. That's why. 1 second, let me stop sharing and go to a different one. Okay, I think this is, yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Here we are, and I will show what we are doing here. So again, you can see here we are. Again, same task, find a list of quotations and give one of the quotations in the list. And you can see I have my settings here and my context. I might reduce that a bit. And which model am I using? Claude. Okay. Yeah, this one is working. Sorry. My fault for doing too many tests of this thing. Okay. And you can see here we have multiple chunks of data that have been retrieved from the original document. And these I can confirm for a fact that these are actually bits of data that are in the book, because obviously I wrote it. And they're all about dogs. So hooray, it's correctly spotted what I'm interested in and brought them back. And obviously I did more than just ask it to get the context. I asked it to pick one specific quotation from that context, give only the quotation, no commentary. And here we are. It's successfully selected a quotation, no commentary. It's all good. So I am going to call this output that it's made. I'm going to give it a variable name, good dogs 1, because we all like good dogs. So what I can then do as a follow-up to this is I can add in a second stage to this chain of thought. So here I want to convert it into JavaScript for my website, and I want it to display this quote in a little snippet of JavaScript that I can add to my site. So there, I've written a prompt to get it to do that. This time, there's multiple options, so maybe I can try DeepSeek Coder. I'm not sure how well or badly it's going to perform on this specific task, but I will give it a try. So yeah, and you can see it's actually managing to write this JavaScript. It's not quite correct because somehow it's managed to pick up my Wix site address rather than the actual quote. So maybe DeepSeek Coder, it's not the ideal model for this. Maybe Claude would write better code as well. And the whole point of this interface is that you can actually, you know, you can actually do this. You can switch out models, which is, KIP's major selling point. The fact that you're not limited to whatever one model that the platform chooses to offer you. It's not like getting a GPT subscription where then you have to use GPT, or you're on character.ai and you use whatever model they put in front of you. You can choose between, open source, you can choose closed source, you can choose any number of things. So we'll give it a go with Claude and see what Claude comes up with. Let's see. Okay, let's try this. And now I can go through to my apps and I can actually try out the app itself. So I should probably have given it a better name than manage app. I will call it than test app, sorry. I will call it Stratagems of the Warring States and save the changes. So now I can go back to my apps, and obviously I set it to free, and since it's tokenized, it's visible on OpenSea, etc., etc. And I will just go in and I will try it out. So I will ask a question about oh, sorry, did that not send? Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. And you can see it's written a whole lot of stuff, and it's managed to, incorporate all of this and write a paragraph to insert a quotation about horses from the book onto my website. So yeah, it's all good. And we are going to be giving access to this in the next couple of days. Right now, it is still on the testnet, as Jason mentioned, and obviously, we could give access just to the testnet version, but we want to see how it performs on mainnet. So next couple of days, what we're going to do is deploy it to the mainnet, and we're also going to deploy a token, which is not the actual KIP token, but it is essentially a test KIP token. So it's what it's going to be is an open mint, but where everyone is only basically allowed to mint, say, 100 a day or something, just for the purpose of testing this out. And again, even sort of within the testing framework, so all our models are currently set to free for the purpose of testing. So you want to play around with them, you want to get creative and so on. You can use the models for free and then create your data sets. You set your own price for your data sets because they're yours. Create your apps. You set your own price for your data and for your apps because they're yours, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that is about the size of it, except to say yeah, please follow us on Twitter. If you go to the Twitter, you'll be able to find the address for this site, and as well as for our Discord. And we're going to be sharing a lot more information about the contracts and the sites, both on Twitter and on Discord.